Ever feel like you're doing this teaching thing alone? You don't have to be. Shared teaching is all about sharing the workload through the power of collaboration and teamwork. Together, we'll walk through all the difficult parts of teaching and learn how to streamline our processes, fine-tune our time management, and develop a more manageable workload. If that sounds like a dream come true to you, then welcome to the Shared Teaching Podcast. Let's share in the teaching to make those dreams a reality. Now here's today's Shared Teaching. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Shared Teaching Podcast. I'm your host, Susan, and today we're going to talk about teaching fact versus opinion on this episode for Writing Tip Wednesday. So learning the difference between fact and opinion is a crucial lifelong skill that our students really need to have, and it's even been shown that some adults have trouble with this. So in the age of getting bombarded with messages through social media, it's really important that our students are understanding the difference between what is fact and what is just someone's opinion, because a lot of times they're just going with what someone's opinion is and they're taking that as fact. So there's a few things that we can do to help them learn fact versus opinion. And one of my favorite things to do is play a game, because playing a game is really a great way to engage students. And it's also a fantastic way to get students to remember the information, because we remember things when they're fun and enjoyable for us. So there's a couple games I'm going to go over. The first one is an opinion game. And I like to do this at the beginning of my opinion unit, and that's a would you rather game, which is really popular among the students. And for would you rather, you simply have students pick between two objects. And by picking their favorite object, they're expressing their opinion. So between rounds, you can also have them explain why they chose that object to a partner. So for example, I would have like a slide that I would present on the board, and it has maybe slime and Play-Doh, and I'll ask them to pick one of those, and then they're going to tell me why they picked the slime or why they picked the Play-Doh, and that is them expressing an opinion. And also, that's giving a reason for an opinion too, so it's a win-win, right? Okay, the other thing is, of course, if you're going to teach opinions, you got to teach the other side of that is facts. I personally like to teach my opinions and facts separately when I'm teaching fact versus opinion, because it's a little easier for students to grasp when we're just focusing on one instead of both of them at the same time, especially if they don't know them very well yet. We're going to just focus on the one thing. So we play the opinion game for, like a week maybe, and then we're going to move on into the facts game. So for facts, it's just, let's see, one of my favorites is a no prep game. It's thumbs up, thumbs down. Right? We all know this. It's very easy. You ask them a question, they give you a thumbs up or thumbs down, agree, disagree. Or if you like whiteboards, like I'm a big fan of individual whiteboards, then the students are going to write like yes or no on a whiteboard. So yes, it's a fact. No, it's not a fact. Right? Okay. So this game involves providing statements that are going to be a mix of facts and no facts. For the no facts, of course, you're going to do opinions, but at this point, you're not really calling them opinion. You're just saying like, is it a fact or not? They don't need to know what the other thing is if it's not a fact, right? So for younger students, I like to use very obvious statements for the facts. So I teach my students that facts usually involve some kind of number, like the date or the time. So for an example statement, I might give Independence Day is July 4th, and then they're going to tell me if that's a fact or an opinion. And of course, it's a fact because facts can be verified and found to be true. There's some kind of evidence behind them. If it's an opinion, it's based on someone's thoughts or feelings. So is Independence Day a thought or a feeling? Or can I look it up in like a newspaper article online? And in many different instances, it's going to say the exact same thing. It's going to give me the same date. Then I know for sure, yes, it's a fact. Okay, once we are fairly solid on facts and opinions, we're going to move on to having both of them thrown in together. So a good way to do this is we're going to, of course, play some kind of game, or we're going to gamify it. And I know students are going to do well with identifying them when they're mixed up. They definitely have learned the difference between facts and opinion. So let's do a sort, and what I like to do is print off cards that have some kind of fact or opinion on each card, and you can find some free ones out there on TPT, so you don't have to make your own, you don't have to spend all that time, just search fact versus opinion cards or something like that, and you should be able to find some. Okay, so you're going to have a set of cards, and I'll have either a fact or an opinion, and then you're going to group your students into small groups. I prefer no bigger than 5, depending on the size of class you have. And then each of those groups gets a set of the cards, and they're going to work to sort them into facts and opinions. So very simple. You just have a fact sort, an opinion sort, right? So the other thing you can do is you can also kind of mix it up. Like I said before, you're going to gamify it. And this time you're going to have the groups put all the cards down in the middle like a card game. And when someone draws a card, they're going to have to read it to the group and then explain why they think it is a fact or opinion. Then the next person is going to draw a card and repeat the process. And at the end, you can kind of choose whether the winner is going to be the person that has the most facts or the most opinions. Now, another take on this idea is to play a fact versus opinion Go Fish. So you might want to call it something else, something cutesy. Off the top of my head, I cannot think of a good name for it. So if you think of one, please leave me a message. And then you're going to decide if you're going to have your students recognize the facts and opinions, whether they're going to find the matching card or find a fact that has the same topic as an opinion card. So for this, you're going to use that same card sort that you used a minute ago, but now you're going to run off 2 sets so that they're looking for some kind of matching or duplicate, right? So students are going to take turns asking for a card from another player that they've already chosen. So they might say, hey, Susie, do you have this fact card that says, and then they would read off the fact. And then Susie's going to either say yes and hand it over, or she's going to say go fish, or whatever cute phrase you've chosen for this version of the game. Now at the end, it's going to be whoever got rid of all their cards first is the winner. All right, so teaching fact versus opinion doesn't really have to be boring, and it shouldn't be boring, but it can always be done through a quick game. I recommend repeating one of these activities that we just talked about as kind of a warm-up each day of your opinion writing unit until it seems that your kids have a good grasp of identifying the difference between facts and opinions, because that's going to make a huge difference when they're going to write their opinions with their reasons, right? So hopefully you found today's episode very helpful. If you want easy prep and it all done for you, I do have a 2nd grade opinion writing unit, so you can always check that out in the show notes or on this blog post, and I will talk to you later. Have a good rest of your week. If you love this show, bye for now. Then join me in sharing the teaching,
hitting that subscribe button,
and leaving us a review on
iTunes,
so we can be found by more teachers like you who are ready to start sharing the workload. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Find new episodes each week on sharedteaching.com. Thanks for listening to the Shared Teaching Podcast.